advancing the California State University and championing the mission of the Cal State Student Association. This honor is not just about policy making. It is about meaningful partnerships, bold leadership, and a steadfast dedication to higher education and student success. Our recipient today has embodied these values through their tireless advocacy, ensuring that students across California have greater access to affordable and high-quality education. Their work reflects a deep understanding of the challenges students face and a commitment to addressing them through thoughtful governance and impactful legislation. Each year, the CSSA Board of Directors carefully selects the awardee, recognizing a leader, whether in the state legislature or another elected office, who has made a lasting difference in the lives of CSU students. Today, we are proud to celebrate that commitment. And so without further ado, it is my distinct privilege to announce that the CSSA 2025 Legislator of the Year award goes to Assemblymember Mike Fong. Assemblymember Mike Fong serves as the chair of the Assembly Higher Education Committee and the chair of the Asian American and Pacific Islander Legislative Caucus. In addition to his roles on several committees, including Appropriations, Banking and Finance, Budget Subcommittee number 3 on Education and Finance, and Governmental Organization, his leadership and dedication to higher education have had a profound impact on students across the great state of California. Over the past year, Assemblymember Fong and the Higher Education Committee staff introduced an ambitious package of 12 bills, largely inspired by the Assembly Higher Education Committee's report titled "A Call to Action." These measures aim to address and prevent sex discrimination and sexual harassment within California's public higher education institutions. As chair of the committee, he played a crucial role in coordinating these efforts and personally introduced 2 pieces of legislation, AB 2047 and AB 2048, both of which were signed into law. Beyond his work on Title IX protections, Assemblymember Fong has championed efforts to establish a coordinating body for the California higher education institutions, a long-standing priority of CSSA. Additionally, in his roles on the Assembly Budget and Budget Subcommittee number 3 on Education Finance, he has been a strong advocate for Cal Grant reform, a CSSA priority for the past 6 years, and has continually supported increased funding to the CSU. For his unwavering commitment to students, his leadership in strengthening equity and accountability in higher education, and his dedication to ensuring California students receive the support they deserve, we are proud to present Assemblymember Mike Fong with the Legislator of the Year Award. While we are saddened that the Assemblymember was unable to join us today, we are happy to be joined by Stephen Lee, a legislative aide and Assemblymember Mike Fong, and a former CSSA leader himself, who is going to be accepting this award on his behalf. Please give it up for Stephen Lee.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to another Higher Education Student Summit. It's so good to be back. I'm so honored to accept this award on behalf of Assemblymember Mike Fong. Assemblymember Fong does send his deepest regrets for not being able to be here in person. If you ask anybody in LA, he's always so involved in the community, in the district that he represents in San Gabriel Valley, the cities of Rosemead, Alhambra, Monterey Park, and more. And his schedule is always packed out a month in advance, so he does send his regrets. The Assemblymember, as we heard, is the chair of the Higher Education Committee in the Assembly, as well as the Asian Pacific Islander Legislative Caucus. My name is Stephen Lee. I'm a legislative aide to the Assemblymember and a CSSA alumni who graduated just 2 years ago. So it's so good to be It wasn't until this very trip that you guys were on that it occurred to me I could shoot for the job that I have now. I'm someone who's always had a desire to help people address big issues, but I didn't have any political connections to anybody in the Capitol. One of the chief of staffs here that I met on this lobbying trip, and yesterday, Karina might remember this, they took an interest in what we were doing in our stories, the stories that you'll tell tomorrow, and encouraged us to consider applying to the building. The rest is history. I'd love to play such a role for you as well, so please connect with me when you have a chance, and we can talk about that. Just 2 years ago, I was in your very seats, representing San Francisco State University. And I was about to advocate in the Capitol for the very first time. And I was wondering, as one does, how this place works. Why hasn't the government, with all its power and billions of dollars every year, why hasn't it made society better, right? Well, I hope you weren't expecting an answer, because I pretty much just got it myself. But you'll certainly be getting that education today and tomorrow. So this is a homecoming for me, and a great honor to accept this award on behalf of Assemblymember Mike Fong. I'm biased, but I believe this award is very well deserved. The Assemblymember is extremely focused on our students and improving our systems of higher education, which are the crown jewels of our state and in the country as a whole. You may or may not be well aware that half of our state's undergraduate degrees are from the CSU, 5% of the entire nation's degrees, 10% of all the people who have a job in California got their degrees from CSU, and 94% of CSU students are from our state. So your pride in your campus, in your service in CSSA will only grow after you graduate and move on. Assemblymember Fong has been a passionate advocate for increasing access to our systems before he was elected to state office. He served as a community college trustee for the LA Community College District before he was elected. When he was elected in 2022, one of his main priorities ever since is to fund Cal Grant reform, which will expand and streamline financial aid to more than 137,000 students. This reform was passed and is the law of the state, but requires funding to be enacted. Every year, members submit their priorities for the budget to the leadership of the Assembly, and every year, it's been at the top of Assemblymember Fong's list. So, actually part of the answer to my previous question is that money makes the world go round, and somehow there's never enough to do all the good things that we want to be done. It wasn't until after my studies in political theory that I started studying finance and economics, because to build the society that we want to build, the numbers have to add up. And the good people building that better future, they have to be properly compensated. But you'll learn more about the budget process later today. And of course, there are things that are much more important than money. That's why you're here today on this beautiful weekend. You could have studied finance and been at the California Student Investment Banking Summit this weekend, which is not everything. But you're here because this is so important. I'm sure you have all made great student bankers and student hedge fund managers, but then your college career passes really quickly. And you'll be asking yourself if you made a difference in the lives of your fellow students. I, for one, have always been incredibly conscious of the fact that when a moment passes, we don't get that time back. Anybody else tired that they lost an hour of sleep last night? Yeah? Are you tired? Oh, too bad. Get some coffee because we're not getting that time back. You guys were probably partying last night anyway, so whatever. But you're here because you care, and the stories that you're going to tell tomorrow are crucial to the policymakers that you'll meet. The Assemblymember always speaks of the power and the promise of higher education to transform the lives of not only the students, but our families. Like many of you here, I can attest to that. I'm a first-generation college student, but because of our public education system, the community colleges, the UC and the CSU, I was able to advocate on behalf of my peers with CSSA, and now I'm able to assist the Assemblymember in leading the fifth largest economy in the world. The Assemblymember is at every higher ed committee hearing, every budget subcommittee hearing, of which there are at least 20 every year, almost twice a week sometimes, asking questions of every bill and every budget item about how it affects our students. He recently spearheaded a letter opposing the 8% budget cuts to CSU and UC. He got 61 signatures of his peers. This is incredible. It's only 8 members of the Assembly. Most of these budget letters get less than 10 co-signatures. So the Assembly member and the Legislature is fighting for you to combat these budget cuts. During my term, I remember seeing my fellow CSSA peers grilling CSU officials for hours during a plenary on his Title IX response. And as CSSA mentioned, last year the Assembly member led that package addressing those very issues. This year he has introduced bills on dual enrollment, workforce development, housing, and apprenticeships, among other things. We're also staying extremely vigilant about threats from the federal government on higher education. We know it's a very tough time for a lot of our CSU campuses, so your voices are even more crucial. Making sure that your presidents, the legislature, and the governor knows what students are going through and the impact of those decisions. So, on behalf of Assembly Member Mike Fong, thank you for being here and advocating for your peers and your campuses. You are the reason the CSU continues to make California proud. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful conference.